Psychology of dogs that sleep at your feet, the hidden reason. If your dog sleeps at your feet every night, it's not a coincidence. It's not just comfort, and it's not a random habit that formed over time. It is a consistent behavioral pattern. And in animal behavior, consistency almost always means function. Most owners explain this in simple terms. The dog feels safe. The dog loves you. The dog is used to it. All of these explanations are partially true, but they are incomplete. They describe the emotional layer, not the mechanism behind the behavior. To understand what is actually happening, you have to look at how dogs make decisions about space, proximity, and positioning. Let's start with something basic. If your dog only wanted comfort, it would not choose your feet specifically. Studies show that dogs choose proximity to their owner in approximately 70 to 80% of cases, even when alternative locations offer equal or better physical comfort. That already tells us that the decision is not driven primarily by temperature or softness. So the real question becomes, if your dog wants to be near you, why not sleep next to your head or torso? Why choose the feet? The answer begins with how animals treat sleep. Sleep is the most vulnerable state for any animal. During sleep, awareness is reduced, reaction time is delayed, and the ability to respond to threats is significantly impaired. Because of this, animals evolved strategies to minimize risk during rest. These strategies include choosing hidden locations, positioning near protective structures, or distributing individuals across different zones within a group. Dogs still carry these instincts. They did not disappear with domestication. They were modified. Instead of hiding from threats, dogs adapted to living with humans and began using humans themselves as a source of safety. Research in attachment theory shows that around 61% of dogs form secure attachment bonds with their owners, displaying patterns very similar to human infants. They seek proximity, show distress when separated, and regulate their emotional state through contact with their owner. However, attachment only explains the need for closeness. It does not explain spatial precision. To understand positioning, you have to look at how dogs use humans as information systems. In controlled experiments, approximately 83% of dogs will look back at their owner when they encounter something unfamiliar. This behavior, known as referential looking, means that the dog is not just reacting to the environment. It is actively using the human as a source of interpretation. Even more importantly, around 75% of dogs adjust their behavior based on the owner's emotional response. This means your dog is constantly monitoring you, not emotionally, but functionally. You are not just a companion, you are a predictive system. During the day, this system works through obvious signals: movement, voice, gestures, routines. Your dog watches you stand up, reach for objects, change direction. Each of these signals provides information about what is about to happen next. At night, those signals disappear. You are asleep. You are not communicating. From the dog's perspective, the primary source of information has gone quiet. So the dog adapts. It shifts from monitoring obvious signals to monitoring subtle ones. And the most reliable, subtle signal your body produces during sleep is movement. More specifically, your feet. Human movement typically begins in the lower body. Even small changes in position, muscle tension, or balance often originate in the legs before spreading to the rest of the body. Behavioral observations show that dogs can respond to human movement in less than 1 second. And micro-movements during sleep trigger repositioning in roughly 65 to 70% of observed cases. From a purely functional perspective, your feet are the earliest detectable indicator of change. By positioning itself at your feet, your dog maximizes its ability to detect those changes as quickly as possible. This is not about comfort. It is about signal detection. There is another layer to this, and it involves spatial efficiency. Dogs do not just choose to be close. They choose positions that allow them to maintain awareness while minimizing interference. If your dog slept near your head, it would be closer to your face and breathing, but it would lose access to movement cues and reduce its ability to respond quickly if you get up. If it slept in the middle of the bed, it would be more likely to be disturbed or forced to move. The feet represent a compromise position, close enough to maintain contact, but positioned in a way that allows fast reaction and minimal obstruction. This kind of positioning is consistent with group behavior seen in social animals. In group sleeping environments, individuals often distribute themselves across different zones. Some occupy central positions, while others take peripheral roles closer to edges or potential points of disturbance. Research shows that individuals positioned near edges can detect changes up to 30% faster than those in central positions. Your bed, from your dog's perspective, is not just a resting place. It is a structured environment with zones of different informational value. Your feet are one of the highest value zones. There is also a genetic component that reinforces this behavior. Studies in canine genetics have identified specific gene variants associated with increased sociability and human-directed behavior. These variants are not present in wolves, which indicates that they developed during domestication. Over more than 15,000 years, dogs were selected not just for tolerance of humans, but for a strong preference for staying near them. This means that the drive to remain close to you is not simply learned, it is biologically embedded. But even that does not fully explain the precision of the behavior. To understand the full picture, you have to look at physiology. Recent research has shown that dogs and their owners can exhibit synchronized heart rate variability, which is a measure of how the autonomic nervous system regulates stress and relaxation. High synchronization means that both organisms are in a similar physiological state. This synchronization is strongest during periods of rest and does not occur between dogs and unfamiliar humans. It is specific to bonded pairs. What this suggests is that when your dog sleeps near you, it is not just physically close, it is participating in a shared regulatory system. Positioning at your feet allows continuous monitoring of your physiological state through movement, breathing patterns, and subtle shifts in posture. It provides enough contact to maintain synchronization without disrupting your sleep or restricting your movement. From the dog's perspective, this is an optimal configuration. There is also an evolutionary context that explains why this behavior feels so natural. Humans did not historically sleep alone. For most of human history, sleep occurred in groups. Individuals slept close together for warmth, protection, and shared awareness. Early dogs were part of this system. Archaeological evidence shows that dogs lived alongside humans more than 14,000 years ago and were integrated into daily life, including rest and recovery. Sleeping together was not optional. It was adaptive. The behavior you see today is not new. It is a continuation of that system in a modern environment. Finally, there is an important practical implication. If your dog consistently sleeps at your feet and suddenly changes that behavior, it is rarely random. Changes in sleep location are often among the earliest indicators of underlying issues. Veterinary research shows that such changes can signal discomfort, pain, environmental stress, or cognitive decline. Up to 35% of dogs over the age of 8 develop age-related cognitive changes that can affect sleep patterns and behavior. Because dogs do not communicate through language, They communicate through patterns. And sleep positioning is one of the most stable patterns they have. A sudden change is information. So what is actually happening when your dog sleeps at your feet? It is maintaining proximity, but not just for emotional reasons. It is monitoring your movement as a primary source of information. It is positioning itself in a way that maximizes detection speed and minimizes interference. It is participating in a shared physiological system that regulates stress and safety. And it is acting on behavioral tendencies shaped over thousands of years of coevolution with humans. This is not a random habit. It is a structured behavior with multiple layers: attachment, information processing, spatial positioning, physiology, and evolution. Your dog is not at your feet by accident. It is there because, from its perspective, that is the most efficient place in the entire environment to stay connected to you. And that is not dependency. It is optimization.